A developer is looking at how can we build this up, this area, and not just put a house on the land, but develop that area, develop that community.
Yeah.
And then once it's built, not just giving the keys and walking away, how are we going to maintain that property and manage it so that the return on investment is seen? Are you going to keep it nice, neat, painted? Are you going to keep the grounds nice? Are you going to keep everything? Because it looks good when everything is nice, brand new.
Yeah.
Everything.
Hey there, everyone. I go by the name of Adrian Daniels. Welcome to the Sound of Accra podcast. This is the show where we speak with top founders, entrepreneurs, and creators worldwide from a Ghanaian background or interest, with the aim of leaving you behind the meaningful takeaways that you can apply in your life, business, and career. Just some housekeeping for today's episode. I'd like you to head over to thesoundofaccra.com/Dawn Dickson. Thesoundofaccra.com/Dawn Dickson for all of today's show notes, nuggets, key wisdom points, links, and references. If you're watching YouTube, please let us know what you think in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, a 5-star review is very much appreciated. I'm going to introduce today's guest. We have Dawn Dickson.
Hello.
Joined on the Sound of Accra podcast. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Likewise. So Dawn is a 6-time founder, author, speaker, and recently, she's also got into real estate. So we're going to talk about that as well. Dawn, thank you for coming on the show. I was really excited while I was listening because Social Proof is one of my favorite podcasts I listen to in the UK. And when I was watching Donnie Wiggins' Full Transparency podcast, and I heard that you're moving to Ghana, I was quite excited. I was like, okay, she's achieved quite a lot, and she's coming to Ghana, and so I was quite excited to see what you're going to get up to in Africa. Could you tell us a little bit for those for those people that don't know you? I mean, you've been featured in quite so many places. CNN, Forbes, Kevin O'Leary, HubSpot. You did a series with HubSpot.
I did.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Yeah, of course. Thank you again for having me. It's always just an honor to share my journey, and I hope that your audience is meeting someone new. Yeah. And so I've been an entrepreneur 23 years. So they will call me a serial entrepreneur. I started 6 companies, exited one, in the process of exiting another, in the process of expanding one to Ghana. So my background is technology. So I went to school for IT and long time ago, 2000. So it was coding and building websites and building tech for most of my life, whether it's directly tech or tech-enabled businesses like e-commerce. So I have also an e-commerce company for 12 years. Incredible. So, that's what I do. I also am a speaker, so speak all around the world. And I recently was invited to join the U.S. speaker program through the State Department of the United States. So that's exciting. I'll be traveling around the world talking about entrepreneurship and just really getting to share my journey more. Now I consider myself a retired tech CEO. My mission personally to be a bridge between the diaspora and Africa. And I feel like Ghana is the best landing and launch for expansion into Africa. So that's why I'm here.
Amazing. And I think I heard in one of the podcasts that it was always your goal to come to Africa or maybe even live
I
there.
always knew my whole life, like even as a young child, I felt connection to Africa. But of course, Africa is a continent.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out what country, what I go to, what aligns with my lifestyle, my goals, and my career, accessibility, because I do have my family in the States. Can I visit them? I don't want to be too far. So all those things were factors. And I started to just travel around Africa to feel it out. And so I traveled to several countries before coming to Ghana in 2019 for Year of the Return. And I felt very welcome. So the administration did a great job of getting the word out to us in America that Ghana is, welcoming us.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt really at home. And I had never felt at home in Africa until I came to Ghana.
Wow. So you were here during the Year of Return period?
I came for the Year of the Return.
Insane.
Because I didn't know where to go. Like I said, Africa is a continent. There's so many countries to go to.
Yes.
But I said, who wants me there? I don't want to come force my way into a country or go to a country where there's nothing in place to really help us to integrate and assimilate. Yeah. I didn't want to just wing it. I'm by myself. I'm an empty nester. My daughter she's almost 20. Wow. So I'm alone. So where can I come alone and try, be able to make it? So when
Makes
they
sense. Yeah.
announced the year of the return and the mission to connect diasporans to Ghana
Yeah.
based on our roots, I said, okay, let me go see what Ghana has to offer, because obviously they want me there. They're welcoming my people, Black Americans there. And
Yeah.
they did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, the year return period was such a phenomenal period. I mean, everyone from, Boris Kudrin, Naomi Campbell, Idris Elba, Anthony. There's so many people that came down,
Yes.
and just to see, I think maybe hundreds of thousands, even millions of tourists driving, and also more importantly, African Americans, come home. It was just a phenomenal, thing that took place as well. What kind of stood out to you the most when you came down to Ghana? Like, what was the things that stood out to you the most? I know you mentioned friendliness and the warmness. What other things about Ghana like really stood out to you and really kind of appealed to you that makes you want to
the
live here?
people definitely are really amazing, and that stands out. The warm welcome. Just, and I was like, wow, they look like Black people in America, obviously I'm not ignorant to the diversity of Africa and its people, but it just felt very much like if we wouldn't have opened our mouth, we could have been in any American city as far as the way that we look, or attire, but the face.
Yeah.
We Black Americans look like West Africans in many cases. So I felt like, oh, I know somebody that looks like this guy. Kofi looks like, Jerome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that stood out, just the people. And of course, the weather. I lived in Miami, so I love warm weather. So the weather was a big thing on my lifestyle chart. So it's just beautiful weather. The food is delicious. So any kind of food you want to get, you can find it.
Brilliant.
I'm plant-based. So many countries I have challenges finding food.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any problems finding food here. And I love fresh vegetables and fruit, so it's abundant.
Amazing.
So that was a thing. And then I like that Ghana it's a small big city.
Yeah.
It's you get enough, there's enough to do, there's enough enough traffic, please no more. But it's not like Lagos. So it's like, I spent a lot of time in Nigeria, and I did enjoy
really?
many elements of Nigeria, but Ghana is just like a more calm, safer,
It is, yeah.
cleaner, chill Nigeria.
Yeah, I like to call Lagos Ghana in an alternative universe, because when you get there, it's different. It's just so different. Yeah.
But the things that I liked about Lagos are still here. But the things that I didn't like about Lagos, I don't have to worry about. As far as crime, I have no concerns. My personal safety as a woman. And then congestion. As I said, I don't want to spend my days in traffic. If you live in Ghana and you time your days right, you can avoid much of the traffic. If you know when to move.
Yeah.
Lagos, you're not avoiding it. At any time of day, it's there.
Yeah.
So, when I thought about what country between Nigeria and Ghana just really, really stood out. And then my network. There's a very large population of Ghanaians in the U.S., and I've met many. And so when I said I'm going to come to Ghana, they just made some connections for me that really helped open doors for me, my American friends. And it was very easy to tap into the network here in Ghana and really start to establish myself.
Yeah, Ghana, it's a small world. It's not a particularly huge, especially Accra at least, it's not a particularly huge city. So I think once you get to know a few people who maybe movers and shakers, that can kind of lead to meeting some other key contacts within the city. So I'm kind of not too surprised.
Yes.
It's quite interesting that you mentioned all of this. I think with Lagos, it's quite crazy because the population of Lagos is like the population of Ghana.
The whole country.
Yeah.
The population of one city is the whole country. Yes, that's perspective for sure.
Yeah, but in terms of traffic in Ghana, especially during like the year returned or even beyond the return, that's something that the country does need to work on.
Just December in general is just crazy.
Yeah, entrepreneurs solve problems, and of course, you're quite an accomplished entrepreneur. Are there any? It's just off the cuff question here. Are there any kind of problems apart from traffic that you see Ghana could need solving in your perspective?
All the problems Ghana has comes down to your politicians. So we all know this. We're not going to go into a political conversation, but
we're not,
infrastructure is something that I believe countries should double down on, Ghana especially, and technology. Yeah. So there's tons of opportunities in infrastructure and technology if those who control the money and the decisions and the contracts
Mm-hmm.
would be open to people outside of their immediate network.
Yeah,
That's a PC way to put it.
yeah, that's a good
Mhm.
point right there. Okay, Dawn, I want to double tap on a couple of things that you mentioned, and then we can go into like Africa and real estate and some other
Yeah,
stuff
I'm
you're doing.
open, whatever we want to talk
Of
about.
course, you mentioned, you know, how long you've been in technology and software and things like that. Popcorn, can I quickly talk a little bit about that?
Popcom.
Popcorn, sorry,
Yeah.
popcorn.
I
So it's
know
like a
it
tongue
sounds
twister.
similar, yes.
Do people kind of
Pop,
make that?
they do, but then I explain it's Popcom, which is like pop-up in commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, automated retail. So it's just Popcom, pop-up commerce.
Yeah, and so a smart vending machine, isn't it?
Yes.
Could you tell us just quickly a little bit about that technology?
Yeah, so I developed software to make vending machines smarter. You know, I definitely always look at ways to make direct-to-customer distribution faster and more efficient. And now we're in the world of digital payments, accessibility, and then we were in a world of COVID, when at the time, people didn't want to be around each other or touch things other people touched. Or, you know, you couldn't get things you needed. So I really was trying to solve problems for this post-COVID world. Prior to COVID, I was just really trying to keep up with e-commerce and bring the e-commerce experience to brick and mortar retail. So I developed a vending machine that leverages robotics, facial recognition, and artificial intelligence to collect customer data, count traffic, deliver a product on demand, and have that really that's customer journey very similar to what they're used to in the e-commerce environment. So I built that business for 10 years, and it's definitely, I have a patent, so I invented a vending machine. I was definitely leveraging face recognition and AI before it was a buzzword and topic. So I definitely was a little bit too early before consumers were ready to join. And so now, you know, once the AI, everybody's AI, this AI, that AI, this AI, that. But I was doing it so long ago. Sometimes I feel like maybe I was too early. But that's what we do. We're in the process of selling the company.
Okay.
You know, my time as CEO and fundraising and in the trenches of the American venture capital system have expired. And so now I'm just excited about where I'm at in life now, which is an investor and advisor. And then, of course, I'm now in real estate, which again goes along with my purpose of being a bridge for the diaspora to return to the continent.
Yeah, and speaking of Africa, I mean, you did mention, I think you've also kind of lived in Rwanda a bit. So how would you compare?
I still do.
Okay, so you have bi-residency.
I go back, so I call myself bi-coastal and bi-continental.
I love that.
I'm bi-coastal in Africa between Rwanda and Ghana, and I'm bi-continental between Africa and the United States.
Yeah, I haven't been to Rwanda, but I've heard it's a beautiful place, and I heard they're very strict to things like plastic and things.
Oh yeah,
like
you
that.
can't bring plastic into that country. They will stop you in the airport. The first time I didn't realize what I had done. I bought something in the airport, and I was carrying it into a plastic bag. So I bought something in this airport in Accra, and I was carrying it to to Rwanda, and I'm walking off the plane, you know, going to leave the airport, and they're yelling at me. You know, I'm carrying a plastic bag, and they're yelling at me, no, stop. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? And they're like, you're not allowed to have that. You're not allowed to have plastic in this country. I respect it. You know, it's clean. It's clean. It's so clean. I mean, that's the thing that stands out the most is no litter, no trash. Every month, the entire country must do community service together, and they must all get together and clean and do community service as a country.
Wow.
There's no homelessness. There's no unemployment. Everyone is employed. Everyone has food. Everyone has insurance. So they've done a great job of doing that, you know. So people will say things like it's a dictatorship. Well, they're doing a damn good job of taking care of their people. Yeah,
it looks like in Rwanda, Kigali, whatever, the level, there's like a level playing field rather than
and it's not just Kigali, it's the whole, I've been all over Rwanda. You can go out into the village areas and it's still clean. Everybody has water. Everybody has access to things they need. It's still the pride they have for their land. But you have to remember, they went through some extreme trauma. And they went through an extreme with the genocide. Every single person there was impacted. Every single person, because over 1 million people were killed. Wow. So every person I meet has a relative or someone that they lost. So it makes you, when you have tragedy like that and the country has to come together to rebuild your country, you know, it hits a little bit different. Ghana has been comfortable.
Yeah, I must say. I do agree with that for sure. I definitely agree with that. Wow. On a double tap on, you mentioned you're bi-continental, bi-coastal woman. I know you got some stuff coming up in terms of 2024. You got the bi-continental event.
Yes.
Can you tell us
Yes,
about that?
I host, I don't even want to call it a retreat. I don't know. It's like a
Hmm.
trip, for no more than 10 people. And it's really targeting people that want to live a bi-continental lifestyle. So
Okay.
people that want to be like myself. You're a resident of another country. I'm a resident
Yeah.
of the United States. I'm a citizen of the U.S. And I have a life and businesses in the U.S., but I live in Ghana and I want to go back and forth and I want to figure out well, I've done it,
Yeah.
so have two lives, have established myself in Ghana and in Africa and establish myself and stay established in the United States.
Yeah.
Who do I need to know? What do I need to do to be doing business and investing and living in Ghana?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people come here on a tourism trip.
Yeah, true.
You're going to see things, but it's really more about the network. So I introduced them to key people that they need to know to actually thrive in Ghana. Show them the places that we eat, that we shop. I mean, when you're a tourist, and I experienced this myself firsthand, I came to Ghana in December twice, and it's so fun. Oh, this is so great. And then when you live here, it's very different than when you're a tourist.
I mean, you do business as well.
Everything is very different.
Yeah.
You're not doing the same things. You have to eat every day. You have to grocery shop. You have to, mobile phone provider, doctors. You have to get your hair done or nails or barber or all these things you need. And so I really like to show them the way on how can you really function here.
That's great. I mean, I know there's a lot of because I'm based in London at the moment, and there's a lot of British, Ghanaians that kind of live between both countries. But it seems like now I'm starting to see a lot more, Americans, have kind of lived between Africa and America. Yeah, I think
because we have to get out of there. It's going crazy over there. But I host my event in May, taking 10 people, and in October, and I did it last year, and I had 8 people, and it was just phenomenal. Yeah. Very intimate. Yeah. Really just getting to know Ghana in a way that I wish I would have known. It would have made my transition a lot easier if I had someone like me.
Yeah, someone like you, yeah. So now you can pass on the blueprint to other people as well. Is that
each
something
one
you
teach
do?
one,
Each one teach one, yeah. I love that, yeah. Is that something you do for other African countries or just Ghana?
Just Ghana because I live here. And I mean, even though I live in Rwanda and I have a very great network, I'm here, I'm in Ghana, like I work here full time. I have land here. I'm really here. And so I just focus on I think people should focus on what they have expertise in and what they really know well and not wing it, So I just focus here right now.
I agree, because it comes across authentic when you don't wing it as well. How do you compare both countries? I know you mentioned, like how, there's it's a lot more cleaner. Everyone seems to have access to clean water and things like that. How do you compare the two countries?
I mean, I will say there is no comparison. They're nothing alike. The people are different. The food is different. The culture is different. The lifestyle is different. The way the country is ran is very different. The government structure, the corruption level. But I love Ghana still because I love the people. I love the people in Rwanda also. But what I've found is they're a lot more, to themselves. Ghana they're very friendly, outspoken. I'll be in Rwanda and nobody come up to me and be like, "Hi, how are you?" or just come and talk to me. That's not really their culture. You have to get to know them through time. But Ghana, they'll just come to you, and they'll just welcome you, and they'll be very conversational and want to be helpful. I mean, they want a few CDs for that help.
Of course,
they want a few CDs for that help.
Windscreen,
but they're still helping. Even things like, "Oh, madam, your purse is open. Close your bag," or "You have this is hanging out your car." Like just caring about others. And then the entertainment. I will say I'm a single woman. I'm empty nester. I want to have fun. I like to have options to go out. It's not so many entertainment options out there. It's more mellow. I'd say Rwanda is a place for if you're in a couple or a family. It's a really great place to raise a family. It's so quiet and calm and clean. But if you want to turn up, it's not the place.
No, I totally
it's not. I'm going to get so bored. I love it. I'm like, "Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful." But damn, I'm bored.
So Ghana has a bit more to offer in that sense,
Ghana, every night of the week, every day, it's an event going on. Every evening, there's something to do. There's just so many restaurants. So many emerging new lounges. I always tell my friends, Ghana, Accra specifically, because Ghana is a country, and we have to keep in mind Accra does not represent Ghana. Ghana has so much more to offer.
Yeah.
But Accra, the city, it reminds me of Atlanta, Georgia in the early 2000s.
Really?
And I lived there at that time. And it was
Wow.
the renaissance and the boom of ATL. And, you know, it was time for culture to take the global stage. And as you see,
Yeah, the music.
Ghana, Accra, Ghana has taken a global stage as far as travel, tourism, music, events. And so that's how it was for Atlanta. So anyone who is Black in America will understand what I mean when I say this is like Atlanta in the early 2000s.
I'm sure I can appreciate that. I've never been to Atlanta, but I can definitely appreciate where you're coming from, because I think there's like a vibrancy.
And like the entertainment mecca, and it's just the boom of like everybody coming there, moving there. So many people were just started to move to Atlanta in that era, and I see it happening now with many people moving to Accra and being bi-continental.
Yeah, I think post-COVID era, Dawn, I think we've seen a lot of, migration taking place, not just continental, but intercontinental as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think Ghana is doing a really good job of marketing itself as a place. I think that they have work to do once you get us here.
Yeah.
You market us, come, spend your money, chop.
Yeah.
And then when we live here and we get here, okay, now what?
True.
How can we have a lasting impact?
It's true, yeah, because I think the constant thing here is that, Dawn, like, you'll come here maybe during be on the return period, the dirty December, whatever you want to call it, and then people will come here, they'll turn up, they'll do whatever they need to do, and then when it hits January, February, it's like, okay, what now?
Yeah, then what?
They don't. So I think I guess one step maybe tourism needs to take is what happens after that.
Yeah, that's what I thought beyond return meant. So, but I think that's still a tourism initiative. So it's just like, I'm hoping that the Office of Diaspora and Affairs and under the Office of the President will step that up and really start to engage with the people that have actually made Ghana home. And not just in Accra, they're all around. They're on the Volta, they're in Cape Coast, they're Kumasi. We're around.
Yeah.
So how are we helping to mobilize this community of brains, resources, and money?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? How are you going to use us? We're here. We have a lot to offer.
True. Yeah. Why did you pick real estate? Why not?
I picked real estate because two reasons.
Okay.
I have a tech background. I came from technology, and in the United States, technology is a way to grow wealth. One of the ways, and it's a really way that they really put out there. But Ghana, technology is not. People are not investing in technology the way they should. What people are investing in is real estate, bonds, things like that.
Smart.
And then also to be that bridge, because when people started seeing my journey, I'm very, well known in my country. When people started seeing my journey on social media, they were like, wow, I want to do this too. Can you help me? And yes, it was the real estate called me because people were asking me to help, and can I vet things for them, and can I check things out for them? And I felt like that'd be a good opportunity to help people to invest and not get scammed. Scams exist everywhere.
Yeah.
And clever. If you do your due diligence and have the right people on the ground, you can prevent it. Yeah. But blindly purchasing something, we do that too much. Yeah. And so that's what made me really get into real estate. And business is business. I'm a businesswoman. I go after opportunities, and I enjoy the real estate business. I enjoy the development, business.
Need design for your startup? Switch to WORKSPACEGlobal.com, the internet's simplest design service. Skip the agency and freelancer headaches. Our platform connects you instantly to vetted creatives to get your logos, websites, and marketing materials fast, all managed for you by our team, software, and AI, so you can focus on what you care about most, growing your business. Try us for free, WORKSPACEGlobal.com.
I have a lot to offer. I have a large community of diasporans around the world that engage with me, that are looking to invest, and I need somewhere safe to park them and for them to put their money that I know is going to be managed properly, that I know they're not going to give you their money and they never see an apartment, because I could not face these people. Yeah. If I sold something, got my commission, and walked away, and they didn't get their apartment, we're not doing that.
Of course.
So that's why I had to go somewhere that I could stay and help be a part of the growth of this company. Yeah,
because everything you've built up in the past is all transferable, is it, to what you're doing right now?
Yeah, everything.
Like negotiation, relationship building,
sales,
service,
fundraising,
customer service, marketing.
Service.
Yeah, it's all about,
all of that.
Clever.
Yeah,
clever,
all of that.
Clever, yeah. as much as real estate is probably like a safe way to invest and stuff, of course, we've talked about there are pitfalls where people will go and buy land and they get scammed. But
It's
I'm sure,
big. It happens every day.
yeah,
And even buying into developments because, see, Accra's very land rich. Almost every Ghanaian owns land, and that's a beautiful thing. And now they're starting to build on that land and, sell it, which is also beautiful to see the Ghanaians being able to tap into the wealth that's coming from outside the country. But what concerns me is people being developers who have no experience being a developer. Building a house is different than being a developer.
yeah, of course.
It's very different.
Because being a developer, is more like building at scale, isn't it?
Infrastructure, maintenance, management, and at scale. That's a developer.
Okay, so those 4 pillars.
That's what I considered as a business person.
You're right.
A developer is looking at how can we build this area, and not just put a house on the land, but develop that area, develop that community.
Yeah.
And then once it's built, not just giving the keys and walking away, how are we going to maintain that property and manage it so that the return on investment is seen? Are you going to keep it nice, neat, painted? Are you going to keep the grounds nice? Are you going to keep everything? Because it looks good when everything is nice, brand new.
Yeah.
Everything.
When you're speaking to clients or customers, Dawn, do you present this like turnkey solution? Like, look, not only are you going to get a solid product, but also, we can kind of advise you on how you can make the returns, how things be kept safe. Wonderful. I find it so interesting. Like you've set up over 6+ businesses, and it's like you've gone from the dream is usually to go from job to entrepreneurship, but you're going other way around.
Oh, I love every minute of it. I love not being in charge. I love that they're not bringing it to me about payroll. I love that I don't have to worry about paying the rent. I just can focus on what I love, which is really marketing, business development, building relationships.
Yeah.
I am so happy in my role. I do not want to be CEO. So while I'm selling my company, I'm still, I'm the founder, but it feels good. But again, it was 23 years of being a CEO, 23.
Yeah, I guess it can be kind of taxing to an extent.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, and beautiful. I mean, you've gone from entrepreneurship to
intrapreneur. I'm absolutely. And they give me the freedom to be creative and come up with things and still have the ability to make decisions. And so I do feel very much like an entrepreneur in that organization.
Beautiful, Dawn. I've really enjoyed this conversation, Dawn. There are people that still work jobs in Ghana, but then there's also people who want to become entrepreneurs. You've definitely done your fair share of that.
Yeah.
What tips would you give to, because there's a startup scene industry in Ghana?
Oh, it's here. I'm very involved with it as well. I actually invested in a local startup here called Jar to Go. I definitely believe in them. Jar to Go is sustainability and software logistics. So they work with local businesses to put their food in jars. If you eat in Ghana, what you eat. Plastic, styrofoam. And what happens to that plastic and styrofoam? It's on the ground. It's in a big landfill somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not doing well for us.
Yeah.
So the sustainability is really important. How can we reduce waste? How can we keep food safe? How can we store it over days? So they put the food in jars. It's pressurized. The food lasts 3 days. It's easy to distribute. And me coming from a retail automation background, I totally understood their angle with that because they could eventually put the food in vending machines. And that's what they're doing in cases now. So I invested in that, and I love that company, and I want to see them grow. And then I do go to the meetups and advise and be in the groups because I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
Of course.
I'm here to support. It is a great ecosystem.
I'm sure that's something that you can never get out of
They need more money. They need more investors to invest in the amazing startup companies that exist in Ghana. So I need people who are listening to come invest in some Ghana startups.
Absolutely. We're going to get to the announcements. What tips would you give for those that want to become entrepreneurs?
Research the market. Truly deeply understand what you're building, what business you're starting, and who's going to buy your product or service. Who else is doing it? What's the competitive landscape? What is the market opportunity as far as money? We're not in entrepreneurship to just have a hobby. We're in it to make money. What is your earning potential? What are your margins? People jump into business without even understanding the cost of doing business. Sometimes you get into a business and it sounds like you're making money. When you do the numbers, you're making none. You're losing. And so it's so important, entrepreneurs, to know your numbers and understand the business you're in and how that business will scale. And understand the money that you need to grow this business to where you want to take it. Before you even go out selling something or asking for an investor, really deeply study your market and understand where you're going with this business. What is your end game?
Yeah, I think that's the most vital thing to do, because if you don't have an end game, then you don't have a blueprint to where you want to go, isn't it? Dawn, fantastic advice. Really
Thank you.
enjoyed having you in the show. Are there any announcements that you want to make to our audience?
Yes, you can find me on social media, Dawn Dickson, Dickson. You can, I'm sure they'll share my links and things to what I'm working on, but I would love to hear from you in general. I just use me as a resource to find trusted, incredible investments in real estate in Ghana.
Beautiful. Great. And I think you shared your social media already, so I can
Yes, and also DawnDickson.me is all of my things. So Dawn, DAWNDICKSON.ME.
Dawn, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you show. So
Thank
there
you
you have
so
it,
much.
guys. You're welcome. Very much welcome. So there you have it, guys. The beautiful, wonderful, talented Dawn Dickson. We'll have all of the links in the show notes from today's episode. You can head over to www.thesoundofaccra.com/Dawn Dickson. That's DAWNDICKSON. Check the podcast YouTube description if you're listening or watching the podcast. So all of the links there. We'll have Dawn's socials in there as well. And of course, you'll learn how you can kind of work with her in terms of real estate investment in Ghana. And other than that, there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please let us know what you think of today's episode. Leave us comments in terms of what we've discussed today. Maybe if you're looking to invest in real estate, maybe there's something me and Dawn could do in the future. Maybe we could live like a webinar or something, and we can cross-pollinate audiences and things like that. So yeah, check all the links in the description and the show notes, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. Cheers. Hey guys, Adrian from the Smart Vending podcast. Just wrapped up a wonderful episode with amazing, beautiful, talented Dawn Dickson. 6-time founder, entrepreneur. Now she's taking over Africa with real estate, etc. Can't wait for you guys to hear this episode. Do you want to say anything, Dawn?
Just check out the episode, listen to all of it, and engage with me. I would love to meet you.
Absolutely. Take care, guys. See ya.